Hello lovely YouTube family, what's going on? When Google Earth first came out, we all amused ourselves endlessly looking for strange things. We found hidden compounds and secretive hideaways. So in this video, we are going to take a look at how €50 and $100 are made in the factory with machines. In this video, we will tell you about the 10 mysteries solved by Google Earth. Are you curious? Then sit back, relax, and watch the whole video. But first, hit the subscribe button. Number 10. Evolutionary Discovery. The progression of human evolution is one of the greatest mysteries in the history of mankind, one that has perplexed scientists for centuries. So you might be surprised that, of all things, we've gotten a step closer thanks to the really fancy map. So, back in 2007, Professor Lee Berger was using the very new Google Earth software to explore the cradle of humankind in South Africa, named for its massive deposits of early human fossils, some around 35 million years old. After spotting some interesting caves in the cradle, Berger set out with his son to investigate, and they found more than they could have possibly expected, bones belonging to an as-yet undiscovered species of human ancestor. The new hominid, called Australopithecus sediba, had many similar features to modern humans, but a cranium just 1/3 the size. It suggests an extra stage of human evolution that we weren't aware of before. So that's one point to Google in the search for the origin of species. Maybe we'll see big. Number 9. Italian tax dodgers. One enterprising man in Italy wanted to get away with more than a little fraud when he sold his Sardinian villa. He told the Guardia di Finanza, they control taxes, that he had sold it for just €280,000. The Guardia were suspicious and decided to look it up on Google Earth. When they saw the size of the villa, as well as what a fantastic location it was in, they knew that something had to have been hidden somewhere along the line. They eventually discovered that the actual selling price was so huge that he owed more than €7 million back in taxes. The villa was perhaps an unfortunate choice for such a scheme. It was easily identifiable thanks to what has been described as a phallic-shaped swimming pool on the grounds. Well, if you're going to be telling that big of a lie right to the taxman's face, it may well be that you need to find an extra pair from somewhere. Number 8. The mysterious Mel Waterhole. Man's quest for knowledge, oil, and precious gems has led to massive holes being dug with millions of tons of soil being moved. We've all heard of the Kimberley Hole in South Africa, the Wooding Dean Well in the UK, and the Koala Super Deep Hole in Siberia. Though the sheer depths of these holes will most likely instill fear in men with nerves of steel, they're a child's play compared to the creepy, mysterious, and off-the-mark Mel Waterhole. Located somewhere in the Washington wilds lays a gigantic, 9-feet diameter hole that takes its place as one of the most mysterious crevices in the planet, as its origin is unknown and even its depth is shrouded in mystery. The legend behind this creepy cavern dates back to the 1800s and beyond, when the local residents used it as an ideal damping ground for garbage and dead animals with the hope of filling it up. But despite centuries of use, the hole maintained its fearsome reputation of galloping all the junks pumped into its belly with no sign of filling up. The hole remained a local legend until a new owner, Mel Water, settled into his new property and didn't take long to notice the peculiar properties of the mysterious tavern. Mel noted despite throwing in heavy TV tubes, carcasses, and dead refrigerators, no one ever heard them hit the bottom and echoes never returned. Not one to back down, Mel embarked on a quest to determine the depth of the hollow. After lowering several items, including a 1-pound standard fish lead on 18 of 5,000 feet reels, to his dismay remained suspended. Spooked, Mel theorized its depths to be about 80,000 feet, but more peculiar traits lay in store. A few days later, he noted birds avoiding the void, and even his dogs were filled with fright and terror as he pulled them closer to the void. Alarmed by these strange properties, he contacted a renowned radio show host, Art Bell, in his paranormal Coast to Coast program, and within weeks of going public, unknown government agents pounced, evicted him from his property, and subsequently sealed off the area. His name, along with the land records, vanished soon after. Despite government denial of such a hole, in 2008, an old tribal medicine man claimed to have visited the hole as a boy in 1961. Number 7. Tax Scam. There was once a time where unscrupulous individuals could slip their dodgy dealings under the radar with relative impunity. But now, the growing tech world is making it harder year on year. But far from financial software and online whistleblowers, this is a case of cartographical crime fighting. In 2009, the Italian financial police noticed that a businessman had sold a home in 2002 for $330,000. But it had a peculiar feature, a phallic-shaped pool. That's a pretty lavish feature in a modestly priced home, which gave rise to suspicions that something could be amiss with the guy's finances. So, using everyone's favorite satellite-based software to gather evidence, they scouted out the location of the home, and would you look at that, it was a huge villa worth more than a paltry $330K. That was the jumping off point for a wider fraud investigation that turned up $824 million worth of unpaid taxes. Number 6. Blood Red Lake. Google Maps' team left some troubled on a recent outing, during which horrifying images of a lake were revealed. The camera crew ventured to Iraq's Sadr city near Baghdad to track the area as part of its mission capturing the sites and geographical details of the world. Quite often, their trips go without incident, yet this could not have been further from the case during the visit to the Middle East, where the Scarlet Lake was seen. The stretch of water called Lago Vermejo is found just outside the suburb of Baghdad, perhaps in an area not as well populated. The lake runs through the city and is separated with sections of concrete and crossings. It was within one of the middle panels of water that showed the bright red color, which had the appearance of blood. After it was revealed, speculation was rife as to what had sparked the worrying shade. A source told the blog Boing Boing he had been told it was from nearby slaughterhouses, with animal bodies dumped into the water, a claim which has not been verified. Yet although the water appeared akin to a horror movie scene, a rather more ordinary explanation has also been suggested. Others claim the color has been sparked by a water treatment process, or perhaps sewage. Another believed water plant algae could have played a part. Now, when viewing the lake on Google Earth, the water has returned back to its normal color, leaving the blood red lake to remain as one of Google's many mysteries. Number 5. Swiss Field Hiders. It seems like a field of corn might be the ideal place to hide something that you don't want to be discovered. After all, the crop grows tall, and most people wouldn't think twice if you decided to start growing it. However, Swiss police were using Google Earth at one point to find an address for which they only had partial details. Right next to that address, they happened to spot a field which didn't look quite as innocent as it did from the ground. It was easy to spot the green marijuana plants on the 2-acre plantation inside the field. It was a large operation, and 16 people in total were arrested. 1.2 tons of marijuana was seized at the scene, which had a street value at the time of $2.5 million. The site in the northeastern state of Thurgau turned out to be the center of operations for a large drug ring. We're almost at number 1. If you like what you're seeing, like this video and subscribe to this channel. Number 4. Sunken Plane. As with many mysteries solved by Google Earth, this one was, well, caused by Google Earth. Speculation went wild in 2016 when the internet caught wind of what appeared to be a sunken plane at the bottom of Lake Harriet, Minnesota. Oh, and there was apparently a second craft at the bottom of nearby Lake Nokomis. It's pretty hard to lose a plane and have no one notice until it shows up at the bottom of a lake, twice. So what happened? Don't worry, Google's got you covered. As the questions mounted online, the Google Earth team dispelled the rumors by explaining that the imaging system takes multiple shots in succession to put together the display. So when a fast-moving object like a plane passes through, it can blur into the image. As for why they both appeared in lakes, coincidence, I guess. Number 3. The Missing Britain Soldiers. We've all heard tales of men, women, and children who have vanished without a trace, some to escape the pilling debts, court orders, or just to start over again in a new location under an alias. With these exemptions, there are disappearances that baffle, intrigue, and downright bizarre from the start. They are the creepy ones that capture our attention and elicit the deepest fear. Though it's quite normal for one to go missing, a whole battalion of heavily armed soldiers vanishing into thin air in the middle of a raging battle is bound to raise questions. Well, one such disappearance occurred on August 12, 1915, but their absurd story begins in 1908 when King Edward VII of Britain tasked his land agent, Frank Beck, to form a battalion of volunteers from the Sandringham Palace workforce. Glad of such an opportunity, he enlisted hundreds of volunteers itching for a fight into the private army, with close kin taking noble roles and Sir Horace Proctor Beauchamp as their commanding officer. After training, the newly formed E Company embarked on their first yet last campaign that had been a disaster in the making right from the onset. After landing in Sova Bay, the tired, thirsty, and undertrained regiment was immediately deployed and war began in earnest. Their counterpart? Battle-hardened, well-stocked, and terrain-familiar Turks. In the course of the mayhem, the leading 16 officers and 250 gallantry men had vanished into the thin air. After the bitter war, Britain demanded the Turkish government hand over the POW. Turkey promptly replied they were holding no prisoner. The fate of the missing battalion only came to light after 3 soldiers confessed to have seen the battalion marching into a low-lying cloud before it slowly lifted up and joined the rest in the sky. Their fate is unknown. Number 2. Plane crash. On September 24, 2006, a small plane carrying 2 passengers went missing over the skies of Arizona. But here's the kicker, they didn't file a flight plan, so to this day, we have no idea what their route was. For 3 years, that seemed like the end of it, until a group of cyber sleuths over at the website. Adventure Science had a crack at it using Google Earth's telemetry data. Using pictures of a forest fire that occurred in Sedona, Arizona on the same day, they managed to compare the location of the blaze with the surrounding area, the most likely destination that the plane was headed. Lo and behold, they managed to track down the location of that ill-fated plane crash. While it didn't bring William and Marcy, the people who lost their lives, back, it's a great example of how public satellite imaging data can resolve years of uncertainty. Number 1. Atlantis. When Google Earth extended to the oceans in 2009, people were pretty excited to work out what might lie in the briny deep. Little did they know they would find the fabled lost city of Atlantis. Except they didn't. It all came from these lines that showed up in the ocean off the coast of Spain and Africa. They just seemed too structured to be random ocean patterns, and it didn't hurt that the location was pretty close to where Plato described the civilization. Having whipped up such a mystery, the Google Earth team had to come forward and directly explain that no, it wasn't a sunken paradise, but rather the trail of the ships that mapped the sea floor. That all seems pretty reasonable, but unsurprisingly, the cover-up claims cropped up online. I mean, we all know that if there's a mystery, conspiracies can't be far behind. That was 10 mysteries solved by Google Earth. Which other mysteries have you found online? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. We hope you liked the video. The comment section is all yours. Tell us anything interesting you found on Google Earth. Hit like and subscribe to this channel, and also press the bell icon for more interesting videos.